Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dreams Unveiled with your host, Daun, Whittaker, and
Melissa Salazar.
We are so happy to be here today and very grateful that you are tuning in and checking out these dreams. We love tearing apart people's dreams.
I like knowing what's going on in Sleepland.
I know. And you know what? It is so important. We are meant to rest. When we sleep, our body heals. Our mind heals when we dream. And it heals when we sleep too. I mean,
that's true.
You know, but dreams are amazing.
Very important.
And we're dealing with some intense dreams really that are addressing a lot of stress and anxiety in waking life. At least like the last three, most of them, the last three out of five. Yeah. But anxiety is the most prevalent experience in a dream.
Yeah, and I've been noticing a lot of stress. I feel like everyone's stressful lately.
It is. Well, we've had a very long winter, and I think that has a lot to do with it. There's a lot going on in the world. I mean, this world is not, it's not the world I remember when I was like a little kid. Everything's changed. It's really hard, but I like to believe we're overcomers.
I believe so too.
And you know what the great thing is? The person, Candace, that had the dream, is clearly an overcomer as well. So
let's hear about Candace from York, Pennsylvania.
So I will just read her dream. Myself and 3 men were on a school bus, maybe to Chaperone. We got to a huge mall and got off the bus. Once inside, we headed down an escalator. One man turned and said to me, "You need to go find the bus and get back on it." I think she said to me, by the way, that the school bus was actually in the mall. That it literally there was
dragged into the mall. Dreams.
I know. Go figure. Wouldn't that be great if you could just park in the mall?
Oh, I mean, cool.
In the mall. Yeah, it'd be awesome. So let's go to the food court now. Right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I digress. I turned around and ran up the escalator. Once to the top, I started to run in the mall to get to the school bus. I spotted a door and was running toward it. All of a sudden, the door quickly opened and a man dressed in black entered the mall. He held a long, big gun, pointed it at me and started firing. I grabbed what looked to be a long sub roll. Okay, catch that one? A long sub roll.
Subway sub roll.
Is Subway usually in malls?
I think so. I think they have Subways. Do they?
They have so many Subways, like going to Dunkin' Donuts in a mall. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go there. I grabbed what looked to be a long sub roll. I picked it up and threw it at him. He tripped, but kept his balance. I can't imagine why. I mean, and kept rushing toward me, firing the whole time. He shot me in the shoulder and leg, flesh wounds. I just kept running and got away. Then I woke up. Wow.
I love how she says flesh wounds.
I know, just flesh wounds. The great thing is that when I'm reading sometimes of this, I picture like Mission Impossible music and stuff.
Yeah, I was totally seeing it. I was totally
absolutely
seeing it.
We need to have some background music
for when I'm
that. Yeah, we need to. I was trying to actually give it some robustness when I read it, and then I'm like, I'm losing my place again.
You're like,
I really can't do it.
Because you're mentally seeing it.
Yeah, so that wasn't working.
But the sub roll throw, hilarious.
That is that is such an interesting thing in a very intense dream.
Yeah, total action video this time. Or, action dream video.
Yeah, it is. So I think one of the things that is absolutely clear, I mean, if we just go through the symbolism, and this is going to be very interesting. So you're chaperoning. So when you have an impression of something, like she didn't know positively she was chaperoning, but in the dream she had that sense. So that means she's chaperoning.
Right. She's on high alert. And you're already in a school bus. So obviously she's chaperoning for children. They might have not been in the bus right then, but,
And the interesting thing about the bus is that a lot of times a bus, just like a vehicle, a car, is forward, typically moving. It represents mobility. It represents independence, right? Because you are able to go somewhere.
A journey.
So all of that. And because it's a bus where it's a more people oriented, it's
someone else driving.
It's someone else driving. So So I think the idea that there's more people involved and it's more of a communal experience than being in a car, that is a big part of the experience. So whatever journey she's on, it's a shared journey, which means it could represent a workplace or family or something where there's multiple people. So right now we know of 4 men and she, and we don't even know anything about kids. I'll tell you, I've not a lot of personal information with this dream. And not everybody, even when we disguise everything, is comfortable doing that. Not everybody even can understand the relationship in their life to some
be like,
of it.
oh yeah, this makes sense.
Yes. So right now the shared experience, and they're at the mall. Typically a mall represents a place where you can connect to people, right? It's all about connection. Malls are typically very clean and very organized, even if you have to look at big maps that say you are here.
Yeah.
And they have a particular layout. They're very intentionally designed. So oftentimes they really represent connection and community. This one, however, you're in a bus, you're on a journey with other people.
In the mall.
In the mall. The whole situation right off the bat appears chaotic. So even if there was whatever this was about the people together, that's not what happened. As soon as, they're running off the bus and then they're getting on the escalator, 5 of them, going up the stairs, and then one of the guys looks at her and says, you need to go find that bus. You need to get back to the bus.
Right, and here she is on a journey back to the bus.
So then she leaves. She doesn't even question it. So whoever that person represents is somebody she respects, or it could have been a superior or a boss. And so now you see somebody that's really kind of running, doing what she needs to do. There's no indication that she was afraid or even really feeling terribly anxious about that, which shows me, if this is a workplace, and I believe she works in a children's services kind of an organization, that it clearly is a stressful environment.
Yeah. But she's still going.
But
the guy said go to the bus. She went straight to the bus.
Yeah, she didn't even
hesitate.
Yeah, or ask a bunch of questions. So she really this is clearly somebody who is an overcomer, who knows what is required to get the job done, and she's going to do it. I really do believe this is more about the workplace. That kind of fits, right?
The kind of like chaotic where you're doing stuff, you're in, chaperone mode.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Which really, that could be the connection to children. Mm-hmm. If you're working in foster care or doing something like that, even though the kids aren't on the bus, you're in a symbol that clearly is about children. Mm-hmm. So I think that is that's very obvious. So for her, first of all, let's talk about the escalators. The escalators are fascinating, and the mall, if you really look at it, is really a place of chaos for her. It is not a place of, let's connect and everything. So it's a big environment, but it's very chaotic, which looks a little different than symbolism in other dreams where they dream about being in a mall. And like I said, and I will say this as often as I can, it is extremely important to understand what works for you personally is the right answer. Mm-hmm. Don't just take a dream symbol or archetype and run with that because that is a symbol. Sometimes that is a symbol, but your personal experience is really the dictate here and mandate. So I just want to make that very clear. So here she is now, and she's looking for a bus.
Right, she's running up the escalator.
And she is she running up the escalator or down the escalator?
Was she running down? I turned down and ran up the escalator.
Okay. Yeah. So she was up and then she's coming down.
Yeah.
Okay. So the escalator actually represents kind of a pivot, a change in plans. And the kind of work she does probably requires that frequently, right? Yes. that, okay, oh no, we need a placement for this person, or, this is going on over here and we have to intervene. So, which actually really helps us understand that chaperone isn't just chaperoning kids. It's really also about maybe chaperoning foster parents and other people that
like
maybe
visitations.
That's right. So you're really overseeing. It really represents. It's a symbol of an overseer. So I think that really is good to understand. So she has a lot of authority and works for people that have a lot more authority, and that's probably a lot of the relationship there. So meanwhile now, she was heading down the escalator, gets told to go find the bus, turns around, goes back up the down escalator, and she is running looking for the bus, comes to a door, opens the door, gets ready to go through it, and there's a man all in black with a big, what sounds to be like a rifle, shotgun, some kind of a gun, and he's opens fire.
Scary.
So she
shooting right at her.
Yep, and so she starts running. Now once again, we've talked about like shotguns and other dreams. Somebody shooting at you, that clearly is of power. It could be a situation having great power over you. It is clearly an intent to harm, even though that harm may be just
a flesh wound.
But it's stress, right? It could be just stress. That there is this, he could have represented a situation, or a family they are dealing with.
Or like just a danger.
That's right. I think that's really an important thing to understand. So he's opened fire on her. So just in your mind, what do you think about when somebody opens fire on you? Hopefully you don't ever have to think about that. But
I try not to, Daun.
But what would you? You would think, there is a threat, this is a threat, and I need to get out of here.
Yeah, I need to go.
So that was the shooter. And she gets shot twice. And the interesting thing, let's go back to, we talked about the bus being about mobility, forward movement, all of that kind of thing in this particular dream. She gets shot in limbs, in the arm and the leg. So what does that impairment mean? It's just a flesh wound, but it symbolizes somebody trying to take away her mobility, her independence, all of the things that we talked about what the bus was. Her ability maybe to hold on to things or to embrace things, be part of things. Think of what does an arm mean and what does a leg mean. And
helping, since she's in
yes, it may have rendered her impotent where she can't be helpful. That's
she
can't
be helpful. She can't, for like little kids, hugs, that's a huge thing. And if your arms, you're out with a commission with the arm and also with the leg, you can't be like, mobile.
Yeah, I can kind of relate, but only with a cast. Nobody shot me. No one shot me. So I think that is pretty much the gist of the dream. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The sub roll. Is it Italian cheese? I mean, we do not have any details.
I feel like it's more of like a tuna sub.
But there's only the roll. I know that would be pretty bad.
That would be so gross.
That would be awful. That should have stopped the gunman.
Yeah. He would have been like,
slap in the face with a tuna roll. An overfilled one.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting that she did share. She was talking to a friend of hers, and she said, it may be related, the sub roll, to the fact that I tend to stress eat. When I'm really stressed about things, I eat. So, and here's the thing about the imagery of the sub roll. So we have that bit of information. Here's the imagery of the sub roll. It is something unexpected. What this is really showing about Candace is that she is very resourceful. She will use whatever, whatever is in the area, she will use it and make something of it. So good for her. She could have been spooning tuna or any number of things. Seafood salad. We could have.
Right. I feel like sub roll's way better than a salad.
I know, absolutely.
Everywhere.
So I think that really is important. For somebody else that may have meant something else, but the idea that she stress eats supports that this dream is really a high intensity, high stress
work environment job.
So the idea that is in there as a weapon, because listen, if we're stress eating, I stress eat. If I'm stress eating, I'm not like take that work.
Right.
My job's off. No,
Yeah.
I love my job. So does Melissa.
I do.
But it's just funny for that to be actually weaponized. Really means that she is very resourceful. That she will see what she has, like you said, and adapt and use what's there. This is somebody we're talking about that really is an overcomer. That she has the capacity to look at really awful stress as an opportunity to improve or as a challenge. And just so you know, one thing that research shows, and this is a very important little detail, if you can look at any kind of stress that way as an opportunity to overcome or a challenge that you're going to be successful at and get over it, then it does not have any negative impact on your body or mind whatsoever. You know, we know stress, high stress is related to cardiovascular issues and all kinds of things. And I said last week that about 85 to 90% of all sickness and disease is caused by negative thinking. And that's something that should be alarming to everyone, and take that very seriously. It is so connected. We are a very connected being. So if you think about that, and you can be an overcomer and say, you know what? This is awful. I can't wait till this is over, but I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to get through it well.
Yeah.
Then you are really taking much better care of yourself than you probably realize. That really is a very big help. So there's the subrole and her being extremely resourceful. I will tell you that some of the other things is she feels this is a very vulnerable position. She's being told what to do, lightning fast, having to make real quick decisions. The pivot on the escalator, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That, you know, things are being thrown at her, and she's handling it. She really is handling it.
Just going it with emotion, like with, you know, she's, like she said, just a flesh wound, you know?
Right. But she's a very resilient person, which is something that is really important. But there clearly is a lot of pressure on her throughout this dream to really act a particular way. So there's a real vulnerability there as well. And so I really want to make sure that we have that understanding. She may be, you know, being taken back to a place where it was a lot easier and we weren't dealing with so many of the things that are going on now. I mean, the world's more stressful.
It sure is.
And it really does matter. So I think, Candace, that's pretty much your dream.
Yeah.
That's a great dream.
A little action dream for the day.
Yeah, we would put Mission Impossible music to it, but I'm pretty sure if we did that, then we would get copyright nabbed and wouldn't be able to put the video on.
Like, do a little drum set for us.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. And we need your dreams. We need your dreams to keep this going. So if you have a dream that you want to submit to Dreams Unveiled, please email it to dreams@daunw.com, Daun with a U, dreams@daunw.com. Give me as much information as you care to share. Not everybody wants to share everything. Sure. And make sure I have a way to get a hold of you that's reliable so we can discuss some aspects of the dream. Because me having a dream does not make an interpretation. Yeah. I need you. You are the link that has happened. Right? So you're the important part of this dream. I really hope, Candace, things calm down for you and for everybody that really may be having a tough time at work. I think in the North Country, an added pressure is just getting through a very long and hard winter. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope you have a good night and sweet dreams.
Yes, don't forget to like and share and subscribe.
Bye.
See ya.